Dun 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 dun. Lumpy Pear's Adventure, Episode 15. The door to the inn burst open. Roar! It's cold out there. It was 3 in the morning. Everybody in the inn was asleep, but Kitty Ranger, Sir Joseph, James and Logan had finally gotten back. James and Logan were fast miners. They were so deep it took so long for Sir Joseph and Kitty Ranger to find them. But they came back. Anderson woke up, said, "Oh, you guys hungry?" Lumpy was still asleep. He could kind of tell what was going on, but he was so tired. So Blockface went over and did a big favor. Ah! You know, you really got to stop screaming in my ear, if you don't mind, Lumpy said. "Oh, sorry. I guess maybe I could whisper to you. Would that wake you up?" "No, probably not." "Okay, well then I'm just going to have to yell my brains out." James and Logan were all dirty, the most, even though they were still shiny with their armor. So they washed up, had some delicious Anderson stew. Kitty Ranger was really tired. She just fell right on the bed in her dirty clothes. It was like a big poof of dust flew up. Sir Joseph washed up. He liked being clean. So they all went back to sleep and decided that they would have one last meeting in the morning before they set their trap. When they woke up the next morning, they could hear a banging sound. Anderson, James, and Logan were at the blacksmith station that Anderson had built before any of this even happened. There were anvils and crafting tables and chests with all kinds of materials. They were busy making armor for everybody. They even made special helmets so that the pumpkins could fit right on top. The plan was everybody would be in the chamber, and Lumpy would be standing there with his sword of healing drawn, and all the other guys would be there with iron swords, and they would all keep their pumpkin hats on so that they would be invisible. And then they would wait for the Endermen to show up. If it was a bad Enderman, they would either try and scare it away or attack it. And if it was one of the rulers of the Ender Kingdom, Lumpy would stab it with the sword of healing to remove the curse. That was the plan, and we all know through life's experience that plans always go exactly as planned, without any trouble. Is that right, you guys?
No.
But
So they... What?
did you mean the doggy trouble?
Oh, no.
But
Real
literally
trouble.
Didn't have no trouble.
So they all ate snacks, because everybody was hungry, of course, and they all put their armor on and thanked Anderson and James and Logan for all of the hard work and sweat and toil, and it was all iron armor because they didn't find enough precious materials. And they all got iron swords. Kitty Ranger preferred to keep her bow and arrow with her pink arrows, which was fine with everyone. And off they went to the chamber. They finished fixing up the ender chamber and put black wool all on the bottom of the portal to make it look like a real ender portal. Of course, they didn't know if an Enderman would believe it, but what else were they going to do? And so the sun was going down, and it was the perfect time to set the trap. So they all went in the chamber and sealed it up, and they had to keep the torches out to keep it nice and dark, the way the Endermen seemed to like it. It was really dark. They could barely see. Lumpy's glowing, enchanted sword of healing was pretty much the only thing that lit up the room, except it shined off of the armor just a little bit. It shined off James and Logan's armor the most. But they were ready for action. They all stood around with their funny carved pumpkin heads and waited. And waited. And waited. And waited. Nobody came. Nothing came. Oh, we're wasting our time. Look at this. We went to all this work. And we don't even... What, it's been like 3 hours now? They started getting irritated and bored. Sir Joseph and Kitty Ranger started arguing about who was better at shooting the bow and arrow. And James and Logan were interested in some new line of gold and iron that they found. What's what? What, Sydney?
What does interest mean?
What does interest mean?
Yeah.
It means what they like to think about. That's what interest means. And so everybody was distracted. Lumpy fell asleep. And Blockface was bored because there was no fire for him to play in. And Anderson was twiddling his thumbs and whistling. It was getting really noisy with everybody talking. And Sir Joseph and Kitty Ranger arguing. Then the roof, the ceiling of the chamber fell down. Dirt was everywhere. Dust was everywhere. It didn't work. What are we missing? What are we missing? Frustrated, they all climbed up on the surface. They looked around. They'd been in there almost all night long. James and Logan were thinking maybe they should get back to mining. They had a deadline. Anderson was thinking, I should really go check on Nightmare and make sure everything else is running smoothly. Kitty Ranger and Sir Joseph realized that they'd been distracted from the Queen's errand. So everybody went separate ways, and Lumpy was sitting there looking at this big caved-in hole in the ground, feeling discouraged, feeling like he was wasting his time. What do I even need to do any of this for? How do I know that the Enderman King is even telling me the truth? What if he's tricking me? And I have this book that I can't even read. What am I doing? So Lumpy went back into the Ender chamber and fixed the roof and lit some torches and even put his bed down in the chamber because he was still just tired. He didn't fall asleep, but he just laid there thinking, what am I going to do? I've wasted everybody's time. And he started flipping the pages of the book, looking for ideas. What am I missing? What am I missing? And then he had an idea. But just before he could try out his idea, he could hear digging. Lumpy! Lumpy! Blockface flew out of the chamber. He came to visit Lumpy and flew back up to see what was the noise and flew back down. It's Anderson! Lumpy! Come here, quick! You gotta come with me! It's Nightmare! So Lumpy ran all the way back down to Anderson Town and discovered something amazing. Nightmare had a baby colt. A colt is a boy horse. He was small because he was a baby horse, but he was very strong looking. He also didn't look anything like his mother as far as the color of his hair was. His Nightmare was dark, really dark, black. Yeah, there were a few spots. And this horse, this beautiful colt, was as white as clouds and had blue streaks, like looking at the sky. Wow, you're such a beautiful, unique horse. Blue streaks in your hair. Well, you look like when you're staring up at the clouds in the daytime when you're daydreaming. That's it. Your name is Daydream. Nightmare and Daydream. It's perfect. Daydream bounced around like he liked the name.
That totally matches with his mom.
Anderson said that's a great name.
It matches because like Nightmare is that like scary stuff.
Yeah.
And then Daydream is just so bright and happy.
Yeah.
So it's opposites, but it matches.
It is. Nightmare and Daydream snuggled together. Nightmare seemed like a much friendlier horse.
Not bucking him off.
Lumpy thought, I don't think you're going to buck me off anymore, but I bet you're still really tired. It takes a lot of work to have a baby, especially if it's a horse. And Lumpy was amazed that a newborn horse could run around. That's so amazing. It's like he didn't even need to learn how to walk, and he was almost running. That was so cool. Blockface looked at Daydream and looked at Nightmare, and he was so happy for them. But then he felt kind of sad. He turned over to Lumpy and said, You know, Lumpy, I never liked my name. Blockface. There's no creativity in that name. Nightmare's such a good name. Daydream, that's a good name. Anderson, that's a good name. Lumpy Pear, that's a funny name. Kitty Ranger, that's a cool name. Joseph, that's a good name. But Blockface, that's not even my real name. Really? Said Lumpy. Yeah, it's not my real name. It's what my friends teased me about. Yeah, and it just kind of stuck, and I liked my friends, so I let them call me that. Well, what's your real name then? You know, it's been so long that I've been called by my real name, I don't even remember. You know, I have a hard time remembering things. Tell you what, we'll come up with a new name for you that you like. Something cool. Something that fits who you are. Maybe something that has to do with fire, I don't know. We don't have to call you Fireface. That sounds almost as weird as Blockface. Raises a lot of questions, too. Well, let's think about that.
King Blaze.
What'd you say?
He basically is a blazing fire.
Blaze? Yeah, he's like a blaze. So Lumpy said, we'll think about it. That sounds great, Not Blockface said. The ghost formerly known as Blockface said. Lumpy said, you guys, to Anderson and Blockface, I have an idea, but we got to get the group back together again. I think we're really going to need the help of everyone if we're going to be getting these Eyes of Ender. So here's my idea. Lumpy turned and told Anderson and the ghost formerly known as Blockface the idea, but he did it kind of whispering, even though there was nobody around except for Nightmare and Daydream. Let's go see if we can find the gang and get it back together. So Lumpy and the ghost formerly known as Blockface and Anderson set off. They figured Joseph's fort would be the best way to find Joseph and Kitty Ranger. And maybe then they could find James and Logan. So they set off looking for them. Can you believe that this episode is over? And they didn't even go to sleep? That's breaking the rules of the episodes. Maybe should they go back to sleep and then look for him the next day?
No. It's like...
Okay, what's your question?
Like, how did the roof collapse?
How did the roof collapse? Well, I'll tell you in real life, if you're digging a tunnel, sometimes it falls down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened. Maybe it was a creeper that exploded above them. Who knows? Nobody was up there to investigate. Could have been a creeper. But as far as they're concerned, it was just too thin and too heavy, and it collapsed. But fortunately, nobody got hurt.
I have another question.
Okay.
How, when they blocked it off and it was super dark, how come none other moms spawned? Like, how come there were no creepers?
Because the room was so small. But I will tell you this. I am going to change the ending.
You are?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I don't like leaving people hanging at endings. That's for other types of shows, but not bedtime stories. Bedtime stories are supposed to be make you feel good stories, not make you feel like you want more stories. So here it goes, okay? Well, it's getting late, so maybe in the morning we can set out for Joseph's fort, find Kitty Ranger, and find Sir Joseph, and then maybe we can have them, if we all work together, we can figure out where James and Logan are mining, because we're definitely going to need their help, but it's getting late. So let's just go ahead and get some sleep, and we'll find them in the morning.